Hey guys, it's Tom here from Pro Direct Running, and in this video we're going to be giving you a detailed look and first run review of the all-new Saucony Endorphin Shift 3. The Endorphin series from Saucony has been loved by runners far and wide since its initial release, but I think it would be fair to say that up until now, the Shift has perhaps lived in the shadow of the unbelievably popular Endorphin Speed and Endorphin Pro. However, with the updates that we've got to the third iteration of this max cushion cruiser, I think the Endorphin Shift 3 now firmly deserves its spot among that Endorphin lineup. So jumping into some key stats, one thing I absolutely love about a new iteration of a shoe is when it shaves significant weight from the previous iteration, and the Endorphin Shift 3 does precisely that. Coming in at about 270 grams for my UK 8.5 sample size, the Shift 3 definitely drops a nice amount of weight from the previous iteration, and it makes it incredibly competitive in the market for a max stack shoe like this. Speaking of stack heights, the Shift 3 is now maxed out with a whopping 39mm of stack in the heel and 35mm in the forefoot for a 4mm drop. Now technically, based off the name alone, we've still got the same power run foam in the midsole that was found on the outgoing model. However, a slightly softer formulation of this compound combined with those increased stack heights mentioned earlier result in a really lovely soft ride underfoot and an unbelievably protective feeling whilst you're on the run. On top of that, the SPEEDROLL technology that is found across the entire Endorphin lineup carries over to the Endorphin Shift 3 and provides a buttery smooth transition through your gait cycle. Up top then, a fully gusseted tongue, nicely plush heel counter and decently breathable upper all contribute to a really nice accommodating fit, and the stepping feel here is lovely. Flipping the shoe over and taking a look at the outsole, one of the main things that you want with a shoe like this that you're going to be logging a lot of miles in is durability that you can trust. And you'll be pleased to know that we've got a solid amount of rubber coverage here on the Endorphin Shift 3 with all the key high wearing areas covered. All of the stats out of the way, anyone who knows me knows that I love a fresh, crisp white colorway, and this version of the Endorphin Shift 3 is doing all sorts for me, with a bit of gold detailing on the midsole, a bit of gold detailing on the side of the shoe as well, and it was love at first sight upon first opening the box. Talking about the performance of the shoe, I took the Endorphin Shift 3 out for an easy 10k earlier this week, and it was off the back of a very heavy weekend of mileage, and normally this Monday recovery run is one of my least favourite runs of the entire week with very fatigued legs, but I was very pleasantly surprised by how soft and protective the Endorphin Shift 3 felt underfoot, and it really mitigated that fatigue that I normally experience. Now, I've never actually worn the Endorphin Shift before, so this is my first experience of it, and I had heard previous comments from people talking about the firmness of that midsole, but whether it's the fact that we have got a slightly lighter formulation here or just the fact that there's more of it, I didn't find that to be the case at all, and especially when landing up towards the mid to forefoot area, it was very pleasantly soft underfoot for my personal liking. As I might have mentioned on some previous reviews, I can have a little bit of issue with sizing sometimes and fall in between sizes, but the 8.5 I've got here was 100% true to size for me. I had a nice amount of wiggle room for the toes, and the midfoot lockdown and heel lockdown was exceptional and very easy to achieve. One of the things I didn't actually mention when we were sat down going over the stats of the shoe was the laces. They've got a really nice amount of elasticity to them, which may not sound like a big deal, but when you're trying to achieve that perfect lockdown across the top of the foot, which can be slightly problematic for some people, it really goes a long way to rectifying that problem. The only thing I will say is that when I laced up the left shoe for the first time, I was aware that there was a bit more pressure around the arch and midfoot area of the shoe. However, this was only very barely noticeable, and after a couple of minutes of running, this totally subsided, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The SPEEDROLL technology that we mentioned earlier has always worked brilliantly well for me, so much so in fact that I'd put the Endorphin Pro 3 right at the very top of the list as one of my favourite super shoe releases of the year, and that carryover into the Shift 3 is definitely very present, and I found that when landing in that midfoot area, I was rolled pretty effortlessly through that gait cycle. And like I say, my legs were very tired on that Monday recovery run, but I found myself just naturally running towards the top end of my easy pace, about 420 per K, and really not even noticing, and the heart rate was also in the right place too. Now, sometimes with shoes as max cushioned as the Endorphin Shift 3, there is a tendency to stick them purely in that easy or recovery day range. However, I was pleasantly surprised by how peppy they felt under step, And although I wouldn't be reaching for the Endorphin Shift 3 for specific sessions, if you're looking to do some longer runs with a bit of pace thrown in there or some progressions, I really don't think that you can go too far wrong with the Endorphin Shift 3. One of the other key notable characteristics of the ride of the shoe itself has got to be the inherent stability of the Shift 3. Again, sometimes shoes which do have this much cushioning can be a little bit too mushy and unstable for some runners. I personally don't have too many issues with stability myself, but I was definitely aware of how safe and secure I felt underfoot with the Endorphin Shift 3, even on some less than ideal country road surfaces. Now, if you're into your running shoes, you don't need me to tell you that the Max Stack Cushion running shoe arena is heavily saturated right now with shoes like the On Clout Monster, the Invincible Run 2, and now the Endorphin Shift 3. But I would comfortably say that the Endorphin Shift 3 is right up there after my initial first run, and I will absolutely be reaching for it for many easy days and long runs to come. So that's going to do it for our first look and first run review of the Saucony Endorphin Shift 3. As always, let me know what you think of the updates to the shoe in the comments down below. Drop us a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more running content coming very soon. And I'll see you in the next one.